Mood Talk, Mood TV. What's the mood?
The mood, man? What's the mood?
Know the mood, man. Here with Cyrus L. Already know. Here with S1A1. Shout out S1A1 Marketing. You know, sponsored by Free TV, sponsored by Mood TV, sponsored by S1A1 Marketing, whatever you need. So we got a topic today, and the topic is the education system not teaching proper history. So I know that's a touchy subject, so I'm gonna say it again. The education system not teaching proper history. What do y'all boys think about that?
I seen a post one time. If you look at the prison system or the jail system buses and you look at actual school buses, they're basically the same. And when you dig, you realize that the Rockefellers, they're the ones who instituted the education system and the prison system. So there's a book, it's called I think it's called the School to Prison Pipeline System. And basically they're rearing our children to not have any avenue where they feel like they belong or where they see themselves in a line of success. So they just end up in the streets doing street things that'll end up in prison. So they have a hand-in-hand kind of correlation. I say all that to say, why would you teach your prisoners how to free themselves? And I'll leave it at that for right now.
Okay.
My point on that subject, I've always thought about the educational system and whether it was for me or for us or for my type of thinking, period. But as I went down the ranks, as I started to experience college, and by the way, we're on FAU's campus, and that's a part of the reason why we chose this topic, is because we're standing at the forefront of some place where they say this is the spot where you make it, you made it. This is a forefront for it. So as we're entwined into asking the people who are here, hey, why is the reason you're here? What is the benefits of you being here? You start to realize that this isn't actually what it's depicted to be. It isn't actually as great as it may seem or as worse as it may seem, because there's two sides of the spectrum. There is good and bad. So as we've been spending our day here and interviewing people and talking to people, you realize that not everybody's goal is the same one, and not everybody's reality of what this is the same. Everybody is taking it on a different way. So to answer that question, is how the educational system is prepared through life. I feel like our whole life was preparing us for this moment right here. This point is to come to this college, to prepare yourself for a job or for a major, and then go out into the workforce and be that worker, be that doctor, that psychiatrist, that whatever. But that's not what it has to be. That's not the case for everybody. Some people go off to do other things. But yeah, that's how I feel about it.
Do you feel like teaching people true history would even be advantageous to a CEO? Why would a CEO want a young man of original descent to know his true history? Would that be advantageous to him?
Yeah, of course. So it's like they always say, if you knew who you really are, you would act different. And that's why they don't teach us the real history, because if we did, we probably wouldn't want to come here. We probably would know how good of a bloodline we have and how rich and how much of a king we are, and we probably wouldn't want to be considered a worker to somebody who we know that we're greater than, or we know that our potential is greater than his. So yeah, that's how I feel. If they did teach us our true history, it would make us be the true men that we are. It would make us realize where we came from and our true ability.
So the question was the educational system not teaching the proper history. How does the educational system, how do they benefit off not teaching the proper history? However you want to take the question, but the overall point is educational system not teaching proper history. So on my take on that is, to keep a certain amount of individuals down, you have to keep them in bondage. And the best way to keep a certain people in bondage is just to confuse them, rip them apart, whatever it is. But confusion is an art in war. So it's a step in war, and that's what we're in. We're in what? A spiritual war, a physical war, a mental war, all types of wars we're here fighting, So I feel as if that's a part of the agenda, because the agenda is always a bigger picture. It's always a 10-year 15-year, just like your agenda, and you know, in general, just like your plan should always be a 10-year, 15-year plan. You know, it's just like that for the bigger institutions and the bigger people. So as far as that goes, I feel like it's part of one whole agenda that is designed to keep a certain amount of people at a certain level and a certain amount of people at another level. So how do they benefit off not teaching our history, or not teaching proper history in general? Because it's not just our history, it's everyone's history. It's everyone's history. So how do they benefit off of that? They basically get to write their own books. Could you imagine that? You're living your own life and you literally get to write whatever you want in your own book about whatever. So,
and recast every character the way you see fit.
Literally, you have all control just by. So there's a bunch of ways we can get into that. We're gonna have a part 2 on this because the lighting out here is getting a little fuzzy. But on that note too, is there any closing statements anybody want to say?
One thing you said about the institutions and how they look, you know, they project themselves out 10 to 15 years. We should look at ourselves as an institution and project ourselves out 10 to 15 years. Being on this campus today and talking to a lot of men of original descent, they're out here and they're young, right? They're out here and they're just putting their best foot forward. They don't really have no inkling that it was fake history. They don't even rationalize it that way. They're just, like I said, putting their best foot forward. They know their mom or dad sent them out here to do a good job, and they want to get out to the workforce and make money for themselves and put money back into their family and their community. But if they had a sense of true history, it's like they could still, you know, finish their degrees and make that money and help their family, but the mentality would be different, and they need that. They deserve that.
They deserve the truth. So there's a lot of truth, a lot of false truth out here. Mood TV, Truth Television, Truth Vision. So you already know. On that note, Sam, you got any closing statements?
My closing statements would just be the reason why they don't tell us our true history is because they know our full potential will be reached. Like,
wow,
that's one of the biggest keys to us succeeding and getting to the next level, is us learning where we actually came from. Like learning the true history of where men of original descent originated from and were already at. Like there were some men of original descent already here in America. So when we get to that point of realizing where we actually came from, I feel like it'll change the mindset, it'll change the mentality.
Facts. And another thing to piggyback off something Sam said, it's like when we learn our true history, we know that we're kings and queens, but it's not even only that. Some of us were farmers, some of us were bankers, some of us were doctors, some of us were pilots, some of us were, you know, plot mappers, where we would take entire cities and we would like ration them out with the streets and the names and the counties. Like, you created all of civilization. You are the mothers and fathers of civilization. So to get the details of the history and not just the overview, it would give you the plan. And they took away the plan and the planning. So now we're not planning for ourselves because we don't even know that we outlined this whole thing. We don't even know that. But if we knew that, then we could redo it. We could do it again. And like he said, they're not letting us know our full potential because there's so many bright minds out there, but they're locked. Even as smart as they are, they think getting A's and B's in their classes is the extent of their intelligence. But if they knew what they been did, then they could do something way better than that. It's really like that.
That's a good one.
It really is like that. Yeah, man. So we're here dropping knowledge. Drop a like, drop a comment.
So, Mood
subscribe.
Talk, Mood TV.
You know, I'm here with my Bahamian
Yeah.
brother. Here with my Haitian brother.
Yeah.
My Jamaican brother.
Yeah.
We all from different nations.
Same relation
to
to that cosmic juice.
boy.
With the cosmic proof.
The cosmic
Man,
proof.
sign
boy.
out, dog.
Mood Talk, Mood TV.
Yo.